Here we are back at it again with another Ethereum market update. Today is the 9th, Thursday. We only have like an hour left in the day. Actually, like 20 minutes left in the day. So it's the beginning of Friday, really. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So, what happened today was basically a 5% dip all the way down to 4,300. I think the lowest was 4,266 here. What I did, going just straight into my trades. So what I've done with my trades is I bought down here at 43.11. I could have been maybe a little bit more patient and waited for the price to go a little bit further down, but I think that as long as you're buying in this range, you caught the a little bit of this dip. So now what's important about what happened now, and I've been talking about the 4 hour 200 simple moving average. So that's this blue line right here. And, we broke through it and now we're coming back up to retest it. So that's pretty much what's happening right now. And I said that this was pretty likely even when we were all the way up at the 4700s, which is, this is why we take profit there and why we buy down here. So my position is basically right at that moving average at what 43.76. So I'm pretty close to break even right now. However, I do think that it's possible that we, come even lower, right? Our, range low here is 2,800. So it's very possible that we might, go for, again, pushing for maybe a lower low. Maybe, just trading down here again. Um, the main thing to really look at right now, like I've been talking about the this moving average and how that's important. What I think is more important right now at this point is to look at the different levels. So this is the daily chart, and you can kind of see these different, like this area right here. We traded in this range for quite a long time, and the price came down and touched about the bottom of this range at 42.80. And the range I'm talking about is from 42.80 all the way back up to 44.80. So basically, why I say it's more important than this average here is that I can imagine maybe we trade up and down, and it'll be like, oh, it's confusing. I thought like if it's above then it'll push up, and if it's below then it'll push below. Well, one, we've broken down, we've broken through, and now we've broken it again, so it's like getting a little bit redundant. And also there's just this important range right here that where we traded for a very long time before breaking out and hitting 47.50, for the first time. um, so I can imagine us coming back up to 44.40 and then coming back down to 4300s and just trading in this range again, kind of not really um, paying too much attention at this point to this simple moving average, because I think this range is more important. And so if you buy at the bottom of this range at 42.70 or so, I think that that's a great position. You can even take the Fibonacci. Some people like to trade Fib a lot, and I use Fib sometimes as well. Well, actually, a lot of times. And we basically touched the 50% from this range low here to this range high here. We just touched the 50% retracement, which is usually about a really good place to buy, right? And then you'll kind of notice a lot of these ranges match up, right? The not 70% retracement, the 25% retracement is the top of this range up here. The 50% retracement is right at the bottom of this trading range here. And then we have I believe this is 70%. This is 75%. But anyways, you'll just notice that these levels kind of correspond, a lot with this range. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if people were like this and created this and were like, oh, okay, the 50% level is there. That'd be a great place to sell, and different things like that. I'm not necessarily a fib trader, but I just know that that the 50% is a big level. The main way I trade is I just mark out these different levels where we have the range high, and and then I know that this is like about the middle of the range. I have to actually at this point adjust these lines just a little bit, because I think at this point the buy 3 should be up here, the buy 2 should be a little bit closer there. I think my buy 1 could be a little bit higher here, and that kind of follows where my trades were. I had a position here, I bought more here, so that's like my buy 2, and then my buy 3 is now going to be, a little bit lower down here. Now that we've kind of created a little bit more of this range. Yeah, my targets are still the same, right? If we come up to these levels up here again, 40, 4600, 4700, I'll sell. Obviously, if we come up to 4900, I'll sell my full position. That's what my take profit all is. And yeah, I did want to go ahead and get into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is important right now, because Bitcoin, unlike Ethereum, Bitcoin is actually picking up in volume, because we touched new all-time highs and we're deciding on what to do. Everything that I said before still stands, but I'll go ahead and say it again for those that didn't see. So I believe it's in the weekly frame that's important. So in the weekly frame, we don't want to close this week basically at these levels at 4,900, because we don't want to invalidate this close, right? We want to keep this close high, because if we were to close down here, then we're like, okay, well now we're kind of, closing in the same range that we were before. So that's why there was a lot of resistance right here. Once we really pushed for that, we had a huge bounce off of this level, which is really good and expected. So tomorrow, for Friday, we're really, there should be a lot of bearish activity, like in my opinion, right? We touched it, we tested it. We're in on the 4-hour frame, a descending channel, right? So over tonight, we might come up, back up here, but what makes sense is we're making, at this point, we are making, lower lows. So the bears are going to want to push again, making another low here, and they would want to close down there. So basically be on the lookout at, closing time for tomorrow. Basically the candle that's going to be right here. If this candle closes around right here, then that's actually a pretty bearish sign, and most likely we'll see this. That basically means this whole thing would have been rejected, and then we're probably going to see a leg down like this, possibly coming back into this whole trading range down here. So there's that. But if we close up here and have a weekly close in this area, in the 120,000s, then that may mark a really bullish sign that, hey, we're actually going to break out and go to the target of, I believe, 135K. So I'll definitely be making a video tomorrow when I see that happening. And yeah, and then the weekend will be interesting too, because, right, obviously the actual close of the week is going to be on the weekend, and usually sometimes that can be really confusing. But it's important to consider what Friday closes on. because what happens in the weekend is technically like that's like the gap, right? Any movement that happens in over the weekend is considered the gap because it's like supposed to be the closed market and all that kind of stuff. But we've seen in the past some really large and big movements over the weekend. So um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, right, descending channel. So the bulls are gearing up for that move, right, to close down here um, tomorrow, and if that happens, then that's pretty bearish, right? You can even see the volume around this area picking up, right? So that kind of shows that these candles down here are important, but yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Um, Regardless, I think that um, how Ethereum is most likely going to respond. This is the 15-minute frame. I'll go this hour. Okay. Um, I believe the way that Ethereum is going to respond to that is if we close low, then we're most likely going to see another, right. Our descending channel looks like this. Even like Bitcoin's descending channel isn't as crazy, but we would come down to these levels. And then if we see that close down here in these levels, that I think that's Ethereum saying, hey, we're really officially closing beneath this level, beneath the simple moving average, and then we'll be making our way all the way down, right? If Bitcoin decides to come back and test the 117s and 115s 108s, then that's when we're going to be in Ethereum down here in the 3800s. So that's the thing to be looking at. And then I think that if Bitcoin is bullish and we break out, I think that Bitcoin will break out, hit new all-time highs, and then Ethereum at that point will probably be testing its previous all-time highs, and then break out sometime later, because it's one of those things where Bitcoin will make a big move, and then after that the alts will follow. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope that you appreciate the updates. If you really do enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment if you have questions or just want to say something. And I hope your trades are good. Happy trading, everybody. Peace.